everyone. Thanks for tuning into this video. If you're watching this video, it's because you are in the market for a new or second-hand Land Rover Defender 110 or 130. So this video, I am just going to go through the pros and cons of this car and sort of some background on my experience with the Land Rover Defender. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So I had a 2020 Defender 110 before getting this 25 Defender 130. This is the Dynamic SE or XSE. I honestly don't remember. I remember the days of Land Rover just being S, SE, and HSE. This is X Dynamic, something like that model, but it's got the P400 engine. There's a lot of upgrades, not a lot. There's a couple upgrades to the interior. It's been refreshed a little bit, and I know in 2026 there's some exterior refinements coming to the Defender as part of its mid-cycle refresh. So the pros about this car: it's a great driving SUV. It handles really well. This one in particular, we've ordered with it comes with air suspension. It comes with all the off-road modes. I'm trying to remember what other options I got with it, but it's a great driving SUV. It handles really well. It's got great acceleration, just enough. It's not overly fast, but it's not slow. Given its weight, there's a tendency where these cars can feel sluggish because of its weight. The Defender does a great job in not being sluggish, and I think that has part to do with this small electric motor that is built in to get the car off the line and going and getting some momentum. So then you're also not burning a lot of fuel. Given the size of the car, the fuel economy is actually really decent. We've been averaging anywhere between 19 to 21 miles a gallon city driving, essentially. We're not doing a lot of highway driving with this thing. But the fuel economy is decent given its size and given compared to other SUVs in the market. The driving dynamics, the seating position, its size, it's a really well packaged vehicle. I am partial because, again, this is my second Defender, but it is one of those vehicles that you get in, especially a big one, where it doesn't drive like its size, and I hope that makes some sense to you all. But although it's big, it doesn't drive like a big behemoth of a vehicle. It really, like I said, it handles really well, like in higher speed turns, especially on the freeway, like an off-ramp where the speed limit might be 45, you'll find yourself taking this big SUV into a turn at 75 miles an hour. It's a very confident chassis. It's a very sturdy vehicle in that sense, and it doesn't feel top heavy. You know, I've driven the Cadillac Escalade, I've driven Ford Expeditions, I've driven Suburbans, and those all just feel really big and kind of like you feel its size on the road, whereas the Defender, it feels like a smaller car. It feels like a mid-size SUV as opposed to a full-size SUV. So that's one of the things, I mean, that's why we keep coming back to it, because it is a great driving car. Another thing we love is a new feature that they offered in 2025, which is the second row captain's chairs. We have twin boys at 5 years old, so they still require full-size car seats, as you can see right back here. And given their size and their age, we also decided we needed a third row seat, which is part of the reason why we traded in our Defender 110 to get the 130, because we wanted the full-size third row seats as opposed to the third row option that the 110 offers, which are more like jump seats. I mean, just a lot more limited legroom space in case my mother-in-law gets in the car, or other kids, God forbid. But we wanted the captain's chairs because with the standard second row, with the kid seats installed, it would be nearly impossible for anybody to get into the third row without having to take and uninstall these kid seats. So when they announced in 25 that captain's chairs would be an option, we put our order in for one right away, and we knew this is the direction we wanted to go. So with this 130, captain's chairs are clutch. I mean, it takes away seating for one occupant, but let's be honest, how many people do you really want to drive around at any given time, right? You don't want to be a bus service, so one less seat, no big deal. Another pro of this car is just all the features. Everything is very easy to use. The Pivi Pro, which is the infotainment system, very straightforward. You should be able to hook up your phone and be used to navigating it probably within a couple hours. The one feature I still love about the Defender is the buttons that you have around the climate control, the air suspension, sort of the off-road settings, even the climate control menu, getting to the menu, everything is a button, which is great. I'm still kind of old school in that I like the buttons. So you have a whole middle section full of buttons here. So I would say, those are the pros of the 130, of the Defender. The 130, the extra space is good. The difference I feel in driving it compared to a 110, you do feel the extra length in a way. Under braking, it's a little slower to brake. It's very minuscule, but it's just one of those things when you hit the brake pedal, like, you do feel the inertia of the forward momentum sort of pushing through as you're stopping, as opposed to the 110, which felt a little bit more direct. And then in the turns too, although very capable, like, you do feel it sort of sway a little bit more. Again, you're getting that sideways momentum in a very long truck. You do feel it. All in all, though, the engine performance is fantastic. Like I said, mileage-wise, very acceptable, but it's a very responsive engine. Not a lot of lag, no issues. Again, this is my second one. The first car, I never had any engine issues, never had a transmission issue. But that kind of leads me into the cons of the Land Rover Defender, which is, I would say, having a Land Rover Defender out of warranty with no warranty coverage is a little dicey. And I say that because of a couple things. I think the second or third year of having the 110, there's these little halo rings around the headlights on the front. They're LED. They're kind of like the driving lights, the daytime running lights. And I remember one of them going out on the headlight assembly. And so I took it in, luckily covered under warranty, but I took it in and I was talking to the service advisor, and I was just curious in terms of how much the light assembly would be. And he told me that they retail for $4,000. And I just thought $4,000 for the pair is ludicrous. And he said, no, not a pair. It's $4,000 per headlight assembly. So basically $8,000 for a pair. And obviously that is the retail price, but that's honestly insane. I would think that servicing this thing, replacing anything out of warranty, would cost you more than the car will after a couple of years. I mean, let's just say having a Land Rover out of warranty is not a great idea. Another thing that I'm not a huge fan of is in the back cargo area. There are these flaps in the back of the third row seats, and essentially what they do is they help cover the crease of where the seat joint is between the floor and the back of the seat, and it gives you a flat sort of storage compartment. But what happened to me was I was crawling in the back getting a bag out, and my knee sort of rested on one of those panels, and I guess I hit one of those panels in the right spot, and it literally snapped in half. The plastic cracked, and when I opened it up, they had these tiny little plastic fittings that go in that hook into this spring-mounted bracket that helps it lower and close and automatically, almost like part of the chair function. Those brackets came out because that snapped, and it snapped where the brackets slide in. So given that is a very weak point when you have very thin plastic there, that was a bit distressing, so I initially used duct tape to fix that. That didn't work, so eventually got some Gorilla Glue, got that glued up and put the duct tape back on it, and so far it's stuck, but I am overly cautious about it when I load and unload things into the back of the car. I don't want it to happen to the other two panels on either side of it, and so I'm a little nervous about that. Another thing is I touted the infotainment system being easy to use. It also is a little glitchy, so that's a con on my side. It is glitchy, especially when you're using Apple CarPlay. I've never tried it on Android Auto, but in Apple CarPlay, there's certain parts. I'm in the Bay Area. There's certain parts when you're on the freeway, like the 80 or the 116, or I don't know what it is. There's certain parts where it disconnects from your Apple CarPlay, and just the whole system won't connect with your phone via Bluetooth. Even when your phone is plugged in through the USB-C, the screen just blanks out, and then you get through this zone, and it might only take a minute or so, but everything comes back on again, but then you have to reconnect. And if you were on example Waze, that freezes up, so you have to close that in the phone and reset it on your dash, and then replug the address in. So there's that too. So other than that, that's basically the crux of my complaints when it comes to the fundamentals of the car. There's a couple cosmetic things that I'm not I wouldn't say a big fan of, I just question why they did certain things. For example, on the overhead console, On my previous car, there was a sunglass holder. In this car, it was just this blank plastic plate. I don't understand why they just wouldn't put the sunglass holder in there. It seems like it wouldn't cost that much more, and it's actually really convenient. It's one of those things that I do miss about the old truck. They did update the interior center stack a little bit, especially in the storage area. There's now a retractable drawer, which is actually a super nice feature to have. They redid the cup holders. They're now both the same size and universal. I did order this truck with the Resist interior, which, because I have 2 kids, I had the Windsor leather in my old truck, but this time I opted for the Resist interior just for easier cleanup. Again, with 2 5-year-old boys, it's like having 2 chimpanzees in the car, so it just makes everything a little cleaner or easier to clean up. That was as simple as that. They're nice, they're not as plush as leather seats, but the seats are still comfortable nonetheless. They're still heated, they're still ventilated, they're great. Everything else, I can't complain. I did switch the tires out on this. I went with the BF Goodrich All-Terrain KO2s. They are a little firmer, a little louder than the stock wheels, but offer a lot more traction and are just much better with the Defender, especially when it comes to wintertime and the snow. The KO2s are awesome. So that was one of the first things I changed. If you know from my other videos, I did some mods to my 110, added some LED floodlights, whatnot. I will be doing that with this one as well. I will also be installing, the Garmin, what's that Garmin feature that I'm looking for? Sorry, just distracted and driving, and I shouldn't be, but I am. I will be installing the Garmin power switch. That connects via Bluetooth to your phone, and it connects all your auxiliary devices through the engine bay. So I'm going to be installing that onto this car, so that'll be a fun project to do. There's a couple other little things that I'm going to do, very superficial things that I'm going to do to this car, just to sort of have it similar to what I did with my old Defender. Put the ladder on it as well to access the Yakima roof rack that I put on my car. So yeah, anyways, I don't want to ramble. If you're in the market for a new or even a used Defender, it is a great SUV. Again, I'm on my second one. I think it is the best in class, although magazines and some other consumer reports won't agree with me. It's a Land Rover. It's not without its faults, but in terms of driving dynamics, in terms of comfort, in terms of safety, and in terms of even price, it's still good value. You can relate it and say that it's like a British Suburban or a British Tahoe, or it is a very capable, very comfortable SUV. It's really easy to park in parking lots. It's very easy to parallel park, shockingly, and the turning radius is fantastic in this thing. It has a better turning radius than my old Volkswagen Golf R had. And this thing is so easy to drive, whether you're in the suburbs, you're in the country, or even in the city. I drive in San Francisco. We drive around a lot in San Francisco, and it is super easy to drive in city limits. So that is my take. I have now 11,000 miles on this car. Got it this past December. Love it. Shout out to Land Rover San Jose, who we ordered the car through and leased it through. Anyways, if you have any questions or comments about the Defender, leave me a comment. I will answer you. I'll get back to you. And yeah, hit the like button, subscribe. I'm going to have more videos about the stuff that I'm going to be adding to this car. So that should be a fun one. And yeah, if there's any other content that you think you'd like to see, let me know, and I'll be happy to put a video together for you. So thanks again for checking out this video, and see you at the next one. Thanks.